Alrighty, this is going to be a Rena Universe New Game Plus run. And I have once again forgot to turn on Live Split. Yeah, I shaved yesterday. I was making fun of myself. I was like, oh my god, I look like a 13-year-old girl. Whatevs, shit happens. I'm allergic to my own fucking facial hair, so it's pretty fun. If I don't shave it off, it'll just itch like crazy, and then the oil from your hands and the dirtiness of your hands will fuck your face up really fast. So whenever I start feeling like I have to touch my face, I'm like, I need to chop my beard off, otherwise, you know, I'll start getting acne from touching my face. I'm very much ready to go to Costco tomorrow and get my groceries. My ho-cheries. Those are groceries for hoes. Actually, hosieries are also those, like, legging things, too. Yeah, it's bananas. I'm almost at the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna sell all my shit, buy farmland, and stay the fuck away from all these bitches. Just grow my own food since it's fucking $83 for a goddamn banana at this point. Shit's ridiculous. It's kind of interesting though. I feel relatively validated for shopping at Costco due to the fact that a bunch of monetary whatever the fucks, they were like looking back at grocery receipts over time. And like a lot of companies went up like around 60 to 80% and Costco only went up like 20%, so and that was over like an 8-year period, so I'm like, yeah, I should probably just stay shopping at Costco then. But not everyone can do that. If you don't have extra space for buying bulk stuff, it very quickly becomes a hindrance. That, and if you have like a small fridge, obviously it's not gonna be easy to get all that stuff. It'll go bad before you actually use it. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, we don't need to go that far. This fight is really easy. The nice thing too about Costco is they sell like huge bulk things of Diet Coke. So I only buy it like once a month. But we have like a really large fridge. When we moved in this house, I forget if there was either no fridge or a shitty fridge, but we had to buy one. There's no fridge. It's just a hunch, but I shouldn't go in there right now. God, you tilt the analog stick slightly a wrong way and get some commentary that you didn't ask for. Horny teenagers at night on a starlit bridge. Trying to fuck. Shit just scares me. What in the vagina? Alright, I guess we have to do this. I thought that only happened on Claude's route, but... But yeah, I misremember. I did a bunch of Claude runs, because my Claude runs had routing in it for a new game run and not for a new game plus run, so I had to like switch that shit up. Otherwise it would make them basically non-competitive runs. Ugh, it's fucking hot in here. Oh, I did change the temperature earlier because it was cold downstairs. Rena. Rena. Ugh, two transition scenes into one another drives me nuts. Make the transitions part of the skippable scene, please. I highly doubt this game is loading anything. The whole game can probably fit in the PlayStation 5's RAM. Let's be real. Maybe not the upscaled sound, but certainly the rest of it. Wow, I wish my house was this big. Says some idiot who's never had to clean their own house before. I prefer smaller spaces for that reason alone. All that, and I have allergies and asthma, so if I don't clean, I don't feel well usually. There are cute little places where you can buy like one beer or like whatever, but a lot of those have been made illegal or shut down because a lot of skeezy people would hang out in front of them and just buy like a beer at a time for not bar prices. And there'd usually only be like one place like that open that late. And it would lead to just people hanging around committing crimes in front of the establishment or to the establishment. So, idiots ruining shit for everybody is the American way, pretty much. I don't know. It's probably partly a racial thing because typically the places that did that were establishments that had more clients that were black. This is not the right way. What the hell am I doing? Also, I need to fix the team. Ring of Might and Ring of Jamama. No, not that one. There we go. And why not? Let's do this before I forget. And yeah, I didn't turn bodyguard on. Lots of stuff to remember. Like, it's kind of interesting, because there are still some stores where you can buy, like, one big-ass beer, or, like, malt beverages or things like that. It just depends on the area, and who's being a dipshit in which general area. But that's the thing. I think the issue is more, like, in rural towns where there's not a lot of stuff to do. People will just congregate in those locations late at night, getting drunk and creating noise for people that have to work in the morning. Shit like that eventually gets people frustrated at you, and then they start throwing the police at you until the situation stops. So, people just not willing to be reasonable, and, you know, drunk people especially are not particularly good at being reasonable. And it really depends, too. Like, some people are just fucking stone cold, like, alcoholics that can function completely normally for the most part while they're drunk, and other people just become an entire person entirely. It's kind of bizarre. But yeah, because healthcare is expensive, a lot of people self-medicate with alcohol as well. Especially people that do things that lead to physical injuries. So, lots of weird shit happens here. Yeah. But like I said, it was kind of a racially charged situation as well, because usually the people that were hanging out in front of places like that were black, and you know how America is with race. It still doesn't work so much. I mean, it was even like a thing in the 60s and 70s, like just black people like being able to own or rent houses and hanging out on their own porch was viewed negatively. So, Racism is definitely a thing here. A lot of people like to pretend it's not, though. So, yeah. Kind of idiotic. But the same thing happens with bars that do stupid shit, like, that encourage over-drinking. Like, I remember in Illinois, they started making it illegal for places to have, like, $1 beer nights and stuff, because it was encouraging people to get smashed in the middle of the week, and again, people sometimes live near these establishments and work super early in the morning, and they don't like, you know, not being able to sleep on Wednesday because it's $1 beer night at the cheap beer place. Mostly it's just a lack of consideration for others that creates issues. A lot of stupid shit would happen, unfortunately. Just petty crime and general annoyances cause people to get really pissed. Especially when it's like, oh my god, I have to work and I can't sleep. Like, it happened to me once. Like, a bunch of people were partying. I had to work at like 5 a.m. And I just opened my window and like yelled some mean shit at them to hopefully shut them up, and then I called the police on them because I was like, it's fucking Tuesday. I work at 5 a.m. I go to sleep at like 8. I'm not in the fucking mood to deal with this shit. So just catching even the right people in a wrong mood, like... But my neighbors told me the next day that the people I yelled at were looking for me to start a fight, because I yelled at them through my window to shut the fuck up and then called the cops on them. I was like, cool, let them know that this is the gun I have, and if they want to fight, I fight with bullets. None of those people ever talked to me again, so... Not very nice of me, but I was moving away, and my patience for the trashy people that were starting to move into that area was at 0, so... Like, the management company that used to own the apartment complex that I lived in at that time was super, like, good about vetting who they'd let live in there and who they didn't want let living in there. And it eventually just became, like, they just let anyone in, whoever the first person was, basically, that wanted to pay the rates. Because it was a luxury apartment, too. It wasn't, like, normal... scale apartments. But yeah, if you let anybody in without taking into consideration like the kinds of people that already live there, you're gonna create issues between the two different kinds of people that are now there. But it was in the middle of when I was buying my house, so I had like that extra added stress of having to go to like the titling company and sign documents, and I was just constantly handing over documents to the bank that was issuing me the loan. And, like, the realtor needs stuff. So, it was just a time in my life where I was like, fuck all this shit. It was getting really old. Plus, I was not married at the time. I didn't have an additional person that could help me with all the stuff that came up. So I was having to take days off work just to, like, go in and sign papers and shit. It was really, really annoying. Or I'd have to pay more to, like, courier a frickin' notary to my place of business to sign papers, which, as you well know, they're gonna pass every single cost that you decide to incur onto you. And it's like, dude, I'm buying a house right now. I don't want to be incurring additional costs. Like, I need the money that's left over for fucking food and shit like that, so... It's just some fun shit. Yeah, it's just a pain. Because you have to think, like, until you've secured the loan or whatever, other people might still be looking at the house. So it's stressful in that other people might, you know, like offer the person more money. Usually there's like some period that you're immune from other people like checking the place out, but usually, you know, people will still let other people check the place out in case the deal falls through. So it's just a lot of stress. I'm glad I bought when I did though, because I got a reasonable price in the area that I was living in, which was the gay area of downtown Phoenix, and my property appreciated almost double within like a 3-year period. So when I sold it, I made a lot of money as well. But I also did a lot of research. It wasn't accidental shit that was happening to me because I was lucky. I researched every step of that process. It took me a year to find a house that I wanted and to put the offer down. It wasn't something I just blatantly did out of nowhere. I was on Zillow every day when I was bored at work and not busy, so checking it all the time, every time. But yeah, ultimately I picked like down to like probably like a 6 or 7 block radius where I was gonna move to. Based on the fact that there was just a ton of commercial projects happening in that area at the time that were going to be like in an area that was kind of an up-and-coming place, so I'm like, basically this area is going to just improve over the next like 5 to 10 years, and I was like, seems like a good time to buy in. But yeah, everything there looks a lot nicer than it did when I moved in, and you know, that's good for your bottom line when you're trying to sell your house later. But yeah, then we did the exact same thing. When I sold my house, we bought a cheap property, we fixed it up ourselves. Hopefully, we did our research right, and when we go to sell it in a couple years, hopefully we find that the same situation occurs, we make a good amount of money, yada yada yada. A lot of people just are like, they buy houses for stupid reasons. Or for no reason at all, for that matter. Especially during times when it's like, in the news, like, oh, it's housing mania, blah 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 blah, like, that means you're buying at the top of the landslide usually, and that's not usually a very smart thing to do, but people are extremely prone to getting gaslit into buying things. Not only that, but when they see and hear shit all day long, every day, like, it makes you wonder why you're not keeping up with the Joneses or whatever, and then you start wanting to buy shit that you can't afford. And you get a really bad loan, and then you bought at the top of the market, and you have 10 years of downside to look at before the market even starts to recover. It's just, not great. It's not ideal. I don't need to be over here, but yeah, I mean, I was making a lot more money than most people make. We need to go back to Hilton. There we go. But yeah, things were pretty good for a really long time for me economically because I was single and willing to do extra work and stay late and things like that, so my career was doing really well. And like my boss and my boss's boss were like in the process of promoting me, and then they, like, at the last second of that process, they decided to hire someone outside the company, which really pissed me off and caused me to quit almost immediately. But they wanted me to train my fucking boss, and I'm like, why don't you just make me the boss? I was like, I'll take less money than that person. Like, I wanted that to be like my career, but it didn't work out. I think a lot of it was the guy who was the director at the time was very much like a military person, and most of the people he hired into the roles where he'd have to deal with those people every day were also military people. So, you know, gotta love those biases. But yeah, it was fine. I found a job like immediately thereafter. But unfortunately I hated it. And then I just ended up taking a break because, yeah. The other thing too is, like, I was starting to date someone else and I was less willing to be living at work, so I was like, dude, I'm getting, I think I was like 31 or 32 at the time. I'm like, I don't want to end up like missing all the prime years of like developing, you know, a serious like relationship with somebody just because of money. But I don't know, it's all tricky no matter what you do. The hell? Oh, there we go. Ugh, I hate this part of the game. Yeah, it's just like, wow, I can never see anybody that I want to see, and it made dating impossible. So I started changing up what I was going to do. I was like, I started working just the 40 hours a week that I'm paid to work for. I did get paid more because it was commission-based, so when I worked longer, I would get more money, at least in that particular role. And I was getting paid overtime too because I wasn't salary. But in a lot of places that I moved to, they try to make me not want to move up the chain because I usually make more money for the company as a sales rep than I would in a management position, so a lot of these companies will just hire some fucking babysitter, basically, and they'll try to retain their top sales talent in those particular roles as long as they possibly can to prevent them from seeking another job or seeking their way up the corporate ladder. Like, I even had my director tell me, like, right to my face, he's like, oh, why would you even want to be a manager? You make more money than us in your fucking existing role right now. And I'm just like, dude, I don't want to do this forever. And neither did you, which is why you're in the position you're in. I'm like, don't try to fucking gaslight me with your bullshit, dude. Fucking scumbags everywhere. Oof. But yeah, I also look younger than I am, and I think that gives me a disadvantage, because ageism is a real thing. It works, unfortunately, both ways, too. If you look young, you're gonna get trampled, and if you look old, you're not gonna get the job, because they're gonna think you want too much money. And now I'm in this, like, mid-tier, fucking upper level, like, mid to upper level, like, sales executive roles. And no one will fucking call me back, because right now the economy is going down the tubes, and everybody knows it. And companies want to pay for seasoned people for as little money as they can get away with, so you have a lot of companies doing these really long, draconian fucking hiring processes where they interview you 8 times, because they just want to keep wearing you down. Like, they'll just be like, oh yeah, you said you wanted this much money, we can only offer you this though. And it's like, dude, if that was the case from the get-go, you shouldn't even have called me, because I put that shit on my application for a reason. So, it's just a lot of frivolous time wasting and other nonsense. And I'm just like, man. We got the CEOs out here being like, oh yeah, we really hope unemployment goes to 50%, that way we can get fucking PhDs working in here for $18 an hour. It's fucking ridiculous. And anybody who does that shit should get punched in the face repeatedly until they die. But it's not illegal, despite the most fucking unethical bullshit ever. Whenever people ask me stupid questions like that, I just usually I'm like, I don't know. There have been times where I've like walked out of interviews or where I've just ended phone calls with like recruiters because they ask me stupid fucking questions. I'm like, at the level that I'm at, with my references being on my fucking resume, why don't you just go ahead and call my references and ask them a bunch of stupid questions? Like, don't waste my fucking time with this. Especially if I'm employed elsewhere looking for something different. It's just... It happens every time the economy goes down, though. Like, it's just, like, time to start fucking over the people. It gets really old for me really fast, if you couldn't tell. And I think these, like, executives think they're being smart by, like, adding all these layers of bullshit in, but it's what happens every time. It's like, all you're doing is foregoing your own hiring process. But a lot of them, also at the same time, aren't even really looking to hire. They just want apps in their hand in case, you know, something changes in the economy broadly, so they can immediately, like, start calling people and get them hired as quick as possible. And they think they're like so smart, like every other company isn't also doing this bullshit when they are. So you just have a bunch of companies out there not hiring anybody but putting out apps, which is, it should be illegal. Like, you're not hiring? Okay. Then don't fucking ask for people to put their time into this. Like, but Republicans are fucking the cuntiest bitches of all time, and the people that pay their fucking lobbying fees so that they can be perpetually elected and in the limelight so that name recognition is working well for them whenever it's time for a fucking... to get yourself back in office, re-voted in or whatever. Ugh. It's just all a shit show from hell. But yeah, like I've showed up to job opportunities before and people will be like immediately like looking at me like I shouldn't be there. And I'm like, yes, I'm actually 38. Yes, I actually, like, it's fucking so annoying. I'm like, wow, your very obvious bias makes me want to work here so bad. Such ridiculousness. But yeah, I mean, realistically, the price of labor hasn't changed during my entire lifespan, for the most part. And rather than see my salary go up with time, it's more been going down, because people just keep shooting themselves in the foot. They keep working for less and less money, because when people are pinched, and you put them in desperate situations, they'll take anything they can get. And if you have a family or like a kid or something around the corner, like, or you want to maintain your wife's stay-at-home zombie, like, mooching off your fucking salary kind of lifestyle, like, you're gonna have some bad news for the next 5 or 10 years here. Because, the economy is going down hard, and it's not gonna get better for a long time. And it won't get better until people start demanding that, you know, pay actually does go up and opportunities start to actually happen. I need to do that. And this. It's just all such a joke. And everybody knows it at this point, and really game. But yeah. A lot of people are pretty much idiots at this point in the US. They think that they're gonna magically become a billionaire because they see these lifestyles flashed in front of them on Instagram, and they think that they're gonna get it someday, and they don't realize that outspending the money that you have in your accounts is never gonna take you anywhere but being broke. So it's just hilarious. And it's the same wheel that's been turning pretty much ever since capitalism has been established as an institution that's worth investing in. And the thing is, there's no such thing as infinite growth, so we end up living in this world where we have to keep making the numbers go up. But in order to do that, we have to pay people less and less money over time. And the thing is, like, you completely stifle innovation when people aren't getting paid a wage that they can live off of. And the same thing is true, like in California, like $120,000 sounds like a lot of money until you realize that like 80 or 90% of all your money is going straight to rent in California to live near the place that's got those jobs. So a lot of people will do this foolish thing called lifestyle inflation. They'll get one of those jobs where they're like, yeah, I make so much money on paper, I'm so smart, oh, I deserve this. So then they start buying shit, and you know, that doesn't work very well when 90% of your money is going to fucking essentials. So then you start wondering like, oh, why is my debt going up? Why don't I have any money? And by then it's too late. Now you're unwilling to move back to that lifestyle that seems like it's less than the one that you currently have. So, alright, let us do this. Whoops. Alright. And that should be good. Now we need to go here. But yeah, you're not gonna get rich by investing in the stock market. Not unless you buy at the bottom. And what kind of mood are people in when the stock market's at the bottom? No companies are hiring. You probably got laid off a year ago because they already knew this shit was coming and didn't let you know. They just fired you at the last second. So your money has been drained because you're probably in a lease, renting an apartment, and if you break the lease, they're gonna demand money from you in court and win that court. And if you don't pay, they're gonna garnish your wages anyway. Then you have an eviction on your record, then you can never rent another place again. It's just a vicious cycle of fucking bullshit meant to keep people slaves. And it's not gonna change anytime soon. Because the people that are in power don't want it to change. And the people that are on their way up through that process have to be people that are okay with the process existing as it already is. Because the people above them don't want that process to change for obvious reasons. So you just have a bunch of yes men and bullshit scumbags fucking everybody over. Also that billionaires can stay billionaires. That's really all it is. And then you have Republicans living in trailers that think, oh, someday I'm gonna be just as rich as them. No, you won't. The 40-year career has been destroyed. Every company has internal training now, so college has been destroyed. And that happened right after, you know, they told everybody to go to college. During the most expensive time to go to college ever. I'm sure that was totally for our benefit, though. Yeah. Literally every fucking step of the way, you've been getting outthought, ganked, and robbed by people who already had your money to begin with. And it's never gonna stop. Unless you stop spending money on shit you don't need, you're not gonna save any up. It's just that simple. And people will get all butthurt and be like, oh, you're telling me I can't have Starbucks anymore. You're telling me I can't have my luxury clothes brand anymore. You're telling me this and this and that. I'm like, I'm not telling you anything. I'm just saying if your cash flow is negative and if you've been working for a year and you haven't saved up enough money to buy a house, then you're doing it wrong. Obviously. It's so unfair. I won't look like I'm living that Instagram life. I won't have time to party every day. Yeah, you won't. You'll be too busy questioning those purchasing decisions and trying to save money if you want to actually meet your financial goals. That is 100% correct. You can't have both. You can't have it all. And nobody does get it all. But there's so many people out there trying to brainwash you into thinking that you can have it all. Because they have it all, by selling you that same shit that they're putting on their Instagram page. The only way they afford that lifestyle is by selling you a lifestyle you can't afford. But they're my friend, it's a parasocial relationship. They'd never do that to me. Yeah, they would. That's why they keep putting ads on their page. Like, y'all be stupid as fuck. Oh, that's so mean. Don't call me stupid. Don't act stupid and people won't call you stupid. It's like, all these bitches want to play the victim when they've probably been in control of their own destiny the whole time. It's just adorable. But yeah, when the economy is bad, they're pitting everyone against each other. Who's gonna take the lowest salary? Who doesn't have a wife or kids so that they can be in a position to work all these extra hours that we have for free, basically, so that we can hire them on as a salaried employee and work them 70 hours a fucking day? It's adorable, the scam that is corporate culture. And there's a reason they want you to think that it's culture. They want it ingrained in you. They want you screwed over and fucked without any way out. They want you to have no time off so that you can't go and protest this fucking shitty treatment. It's all designed exactly as it has been for the benefit of the people that already have the money. But yeah, go right ahead and believe that you're gonna get insta-famous while you have to work 60 hours a week, and the person that's already insta-famous is working 30 hours a week, keeping you invested in their bullshit so that you keep buying dumb fucking crap that you don't need. But it's been that way from the beginning. Like, when it was the monarchy and the theocracies, like, they were doing similar tactics to keep people down and to keep them working forever for them as the ruling class. It's always the same thing, just sold to you in a slightly different way, so that you can think that, like, morals or whatever have gotten better over time. And they have in some ways. Like, worker safety is a lot better. Like, people aren't in the US working in factories getting their fingers ripped off every 3 seconds at a fucking industrial machine, but it does still happen, just out of sight, out of mind in China. But yeah, and then you've got these companies that are like, oh, there's a lot of people that want to buy this fast garbage fashion that falls apart in 3 washes and they want to look like they're living that lifestyle but can't afford it, so we're going to sell them that too. They have every angle of it covered. From the I casually want to waste a little bit of my money to the people that want to full-blown waste all their money at Gucci. They have people at every establishment, every step of the line, down, working on getting you to spend your money there. There's something for everybody. But yeah, I mean, like, the instant you start feeling comfortable in this economy and start buying a house you can barely afford, or a car you can barely afford, or anything, like, every, 5 to 7 years, there's some stupid manufactured crisis caused by rich people gambling with your excess money in the stock market. Because they don't want those normal returns, they want ungodly returns, because they need more money even though they don't actually need it. It's bizarre. Just sitting here tapping the skip button. These people don't think they're people anymore. They basically live in such a way, and they see every day all these other people living below them, their standards, and I don't know, at some point they just stop feeling sorry for normal people. Because why are you going to feel sorry for the people that you're exploiting? I mean, it doesn't do you any good. Like, if you start caring about the people you're exploiting, you're going to start, you know, paying them more money, and then you're going to have less money to play with. It's not that hard to figure out why people are doing this shit this way. Let's get rid of you. And yeah, we're good. Whatever. I mean, they need their perpetual dynasty to keep their grandkids that they're never gonna meet rich. It's shielding generational wealth, essentially, to make it exist in perpetuity. And it's really hard to fuck it up. If you just do, like, basic things, you're gonna stay wealthy. But a lot of people will start getting greedy and out of touch with reality, and they think that the position they were born into means they're better than everyone else. And they start to think that God is on their side, and they think that they can go roll the dice in the casino and God's gonna flip the number over so that they just have more and more and more perpetual fucking cash. But when you start getting that greedy and blinded from how shit actually works, you're gonna start making some mistakes. So, occasionally some of these people will lose their money, but that's probably because they were nouveau riche to begin with. They didn't have their grandparents and their mommy and daddy telling them for 20 years while they grow up that if you fuck this up, you fuck it up for all our forebears or descendants or whatever. So there's a lot of pressure on those kids. They have a different moral situation that they're born into than normal people do. The situation is, don't fuck it up for the next 20 years, 20 generations of our last name. Have I been stoned or something? Like, why am I not moving? Whatever. It died. I was like, I don't want to get hit with phone wind right now. Jesus. I mean, people just want to believe the positive stuff, and any corporate culture that's worth its salt will be like, think about this glass half full, which is really just telling you, ignore all the stuff that are huge giant red flags that are so very obviously against you. We want you to believe that it'll work out for you, so that when it doesn't, we can keep exploiting your stupid ass. And that's how it has been, and will probably stay for quite some time. And don't worry, when this system fails, they'll call it something else, they'll make it seem morally superior to what they had before, and they're gonna do the exact same shit in the playbook to keep their fucking perpetual wealth. Exactly that. Perpetual. And you'll eat that shit up with a spoon, because it'll look like some kind of change has happened. It'll look like the tide has turned and you're starting to win. And you'll feel really good about that. Until you don't. Until they decide rent's been tripled for some mysterious reason. The mysterious reason being that a bunch of people refused to pay rent during the fucking pandemic. Well, they got their money back, didn't they? What'd you fucking think was gonna happen? You tried to exploit a loophole, and now everything's triple the price. Good job, dumbass. These people hold vengeance in their hearts. They will come after you. They will get their money back. They are not letting you get away with that shit forever. So, what happened? Exactly that. Wow. Shocker. But yeah, what do you think happens to people that are getting free money from the government and then living in a place rent-free and not able to be kicked out due to some mandate that doesn't even legally hold any water anyway? I mean, you've just pissed off that person for the rest of their entire life. They'll never forget how pissed off they are at you. And they will never stop trying to fuck you over to get back what you stole from them. So that's what's happening right now, is the aftermath of a bunch of stupid idiots thinking they got lucky with some kind of loophole. Welcome back to McDonald's. Like, if you act that trashy, you're not getting past the fucking secretary at most businesses in the United States. It's just not gonna happen for you. But yeah, lobbying basically became a big thing in the 70s. Look at any economic graph from the 70s to today. You're going to see stagnant wages, you're going to see unbelievable returns in the stock market, and you're going to see that productivity rises basically on a fucking logarithmic scale. And why did all those things happen? Because rich people are allowed to buy off your fucking people elected into the republic. But at the same time, they think it's a democracy. They don't know the difference between the two, and they're just getting fucking raped. But that's the thing, like, we live in an age where a new shiny object is gonna come out every couple years. And it's gonna make life a little bit different. And you're gonna think things got better, even though you were just, in actuality, sold some new product to waste your time. And that's exactly what they want. They want all your time accounted for. These people are accountants, but with your time. They want every single moment of your life accounted for. They either want you asleep, at work, or doing some stupid shit that will make sure that you never get the ability to fucking rise above this shit. And they will. They're gonna come out with a new shiny object any minute now. Went from like fucking smartphones to video streaming, and it seemed like it got better, right? Like, oh, now I don't have to pay cable $100 a month anymore. I can pay the streaming service $10 a month. All those companies will consolidate and form a bigger company, and they're gonna get their money back somehow. And how they did it this time was they just raised the rate of all the fucking internet service providers from like $20 to $40 a month to $100 a month. Because all those fucking cable companies, all their rich buddies, they all knew this shit was gonna happen before you did. And they wanted to dangle that shit in front of you for just a little bit so that you felt like the fucking world was in your corner 3 seconds before they changed the fucking finances from one thing to another. It's just all gonna keep happening. It's not hard to fix it, but you have to get everybody who's been kept from doing anything that's in their actual interest for their entire lives to feel comfortable with doing something that rich people have been telling you not to do since you were fucking splatted out of your mommy's vagina. And people don't like change. They know it. So that's working for them too. Son of a bitch, I went too far. They're happening everywhere all at once. But these different cultures and countries have slightly different ways of doing things, and maybe they didn't see this fucking particular scam, you know, thrown at them for a while because they had it a little bit better than we did in America. Like, it's gonna look nice for a second there. Or feel good. Most of it is they want you to feel good for a very short period of time before the rug pull. That's mostly what's going on. They'll give you a quick little handy before they fucking pull the rug out from underneath you. Here you was, thinking you was getting your dick sucked, but it was just a sad hand job the whole time. That's what it always is. Forever and ever. So you have two choices. You can accept it, or accept it, because one way or the other, they own the fucking law and they own all the politicians. The only way to get past this is for everybody to stop working immediately. Every single fucking person. Middle-aged people, young people, everybody. They have to stop working, and they have to agree to deal with it for at least 6 months, and they have to agree to pay each other when somebody's about to go bankrupt so they don't starve to death or lose their house. But that's the very thing that the rich people have been using against you the whole time, especially Republicans. I don't want to pay for that person's health care. I don't want to pay for this. I don't want to pay for that. You're paying for it one way or the other, is what your stupid little brain doesn't understand. Do you want to pay it to rich people who are skimming all the money off the top, or do you want to fucking deal with people that aren't complete scumbags? That's really what that's gonna have to boil down to, but that lack of trust, they're gonna use that against you as a weaponized situation forever. You have to know that those are the tactics they're coming at you with in order to supersede and outlast those particular tactics. But that's the thing, they have more money than you and they can wait longer than you. But every single time a fucking strike happens, the company pretty much loses. So, band together, work together despite your differences, and fucking strike everything, everywhere, all at once, until the rich people fucking hand over some goddamn money for a livable wage so that people can actually afford housing and have a little bit of money left over for their hobbies. Because they're not willing to even give you that anymore. They want every penny that you have for your side hobbies. They want to suck every penny out of the system to such a degree that you need a second or a third job just to fucking survive. Because then, boy oh boy, do you not have any time to do anything else. But the thing that they always forget, and which always causes some kind of backlash, and which always gets people to some kind of middle income situation, is the fact that eventually, if people are only working and they're not barely feeding themselves, what's the fucking difference? Like, if you're starving anyway, why the fuck are you gonna keep going to work? I'd rather just starve and hang out in the streets doing nothing. Like, shit. If you make it bad enough, people are just gonna completely... open rebellion will come for you. And when you've pissed that many people off for that long of a period of time, they're gonna start chopping your head off in public again. Guaranteed. It doesn't matter what you say about it. If you piss an entire generation of people off, which they've already done, they're now working on another generation of people to piss off. They fucked over mostly not the boomers and mostly not Gen X, but they've permanently and irreparably fucked over fucking millennials and Gen Z for sure. But what are they doing? They got that same playbook. They're like, oh, let's pit the fucking Gen Zs and the millennials against each other. Because the Gen Zs are younger and a little bit cooler, and the millennials are getting old and staring down the fucking barrel of another 40 years of work, and they've gotten fat because they don't have any time to work out, and they lost their fucking metabolism because they're not 18 anymore. It's all just a big, like, let's get these people to fucking do our work for us so we can do nothing in the Bahamas. But yeah, people are starting to get mad, but they have refused to band together. That's the key thing. Because they've been told for their entire lives not to trust people like you. By the people that are above both of those sets of fucking classes. You're a marionette on strings, and they're just fucking laughing at you all day long. They love it. Alrighty. I mean, we're kind of at the point where the rich people are already selling you the solution. They're selling the tiny houses. They are kind of preaching this alternative lifestyle so that they can siphon even more money out of you. They're kind of like celebrating those couponing like people on YouTube. Like, they're still coming after everybody, just in a slightly different way, because they think they have, you know, people beat. And that's exactly what they want everyone else to think as well. Accept less. Just keep accepting less. That's the train we're on right now. And eventually it's gonna be like, I'm not interested in accepting less anymore. But yeah, the hilarity of these rich cunts broadcasting to you on Instagram just how much better they have it than you. Like, it blows my mind that more people aren't already, like, trying to fight against that. Instead, it's like, they've turned this into a form of entertainment. Like, for poor people to, like, wish how rich they were. For people to wish they had better houses by scrolling through Zillow. It's just, goddamn. Some brilliant fuckery is at foot here. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not really life if you're not living. If you work too much to make a relationship work, you're just alone, like, at that point. And that's the most vulnerable position to be in of all. But that's the position they want you in. If you're alone, you don't have a backup plan or person to fund you while you're going through a hard time. You don't have a wife that can go back to work while you try to find a different job. You don't have adult children that are gonna pay for you when the rich people decide to take your fucking retirement away from you. That's exactly how they want it, and that's what they've been cultivating rather successfully for a very long period of time, over the last 100 years or so. Very successfully, I might add. But be mad at Team Blue or Team Red. It's their fault. They're the ones. It was them. It was these guys. Gen Z, we need to get them mad at millennials and vice versa. We need to start an epic war between people that should have each other's interests at heart, but instead are destroying each other to the detriment of both of them. All day long, baby. Orchestrating, planning, meticulous plans to get people to destroy themselves. It's adorable. And it works. If you feel like you're winning, it's probably because you're working 80 hours a week and you've bought into the... You're just young enough to keep having that energy to do 3 people's jobs for the cost of 1. Eventually you'll get old or tired or sick or in a car accident. And you'll find out that when you're alone and nobody cares about you that much because you haven't built any relationships with anybody, because all you did was work, that your employer is not gonna fucking drop a bunch of money in your lap. They're gonna do the exact opposite. When you fucking put in that claim for workman's comp, they're gonna fucking hire people to watch your bitch ass. And the instant you fucking go get your own mail from the front of your house is the moment that some skeezy piece of shit is gonna be watching you, snapping a picture, sending it to your boss, and making it look like you can still work. And then you're gonna lose that lawsuit, and then you're gonna lose your workers' comp money, or your unemployment, or whatever you might have had for a brief period of time. You might even be sued for any money you did successfully get out of the system. And then where are you? You're not able to work, you have no money left, you just got defeated and destroyed, legally, socially, you have no fucking relationships to fall back on. It's just a complete fucking sweep. They got you by the balls, and then they clipped them at the end to make sure that you couldn't fight back ever again. But yeah, go fight Gen Z, they're so stupid, wearing all their thrifty clothes. LOL. Wow. But that's the thing, there's always somebody in this economy which is so fucking tiered in such a way to have a multitude of different classes that's gonna cross the picket line. There's always gonna be somebody that'll take worse pay with worse benefits with more hours. So you gotta get everybody to work together. And in the age of division, how does one get all of these people to work together without killing each other? That's the million-dollar question. More like trillion-dollar question at this point, but... Ah, shit, I didn't want to go in there. We want to go in here. Alright, where is map? Come to me, map. I need you. I think I just... Did I go the wrong way? No, we're fine. I just hate this place. Everything looks exactly the same, and it's designed in a way to confuse you. Just like real life! Ugh, can't see with that there. Such a pain. Alright, 3 switches to go. 3 switches, my bitches. Is that lit? No, that's what I thought. That always throws me off. I don't know why. I really should just make this map slightly differently and just have all the, like, glowy switch things. Probably be a little less confusing. Either way, I make mistakes with this god-awful map. It's just so, like, not intuitive. It's the best way I can put it. Go. Get rid of them bitches. Perfect. We got our cutscene. I don't need the map anymore. I think that's the first time I did it without making substantial mistakes that wasted like 30 seconds or longer. That's still probably... It was nowhere near perfect, but it's better than what I normally do, so... I will take that every day of the week over what I've done in the past. Yeah, exactly. The whole thing is to put people in a situation where they feel helpless. They feel like if they try to band together and win against the fucking machine, that they'll either go to jail or their class will go down or something bad will happen that will fuck them over for the rest of their life. You just have to dangle a threat over most people, and unfortunately the people doing the threatening usually win. Because they all band together, unlike the bottom 98% of the economy. What am I doing? I just need to do that. Here's your fucking orbs, buddy. Which I don't think they even do anything plot-wise. They're like, oh, go get these orbs. Oh, shit. That still didn't work. You're gonna have to go and get this metal now. Why didn't we just go get the metal first, assholes? Bastards. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, it is on Universe. I feel like I'm going too fast, like... I was like, am I actually on the hardest difficulty? Because it doesn't feel like it. I feel like I'm steamrolling most of the enemies. Normally they kind of put up a little bit more of a fight, but the enemies all get significantly harder from here on out, so... Maybe I should have just bit my tongue instead. But yeah, I think 100 years from now we're going to look back at this time in American history and it's just going to be called the Gilded Age Part 2. I mean, it's that simple now. What the hell? No, wrong button. Whatever. Kill. Kill us all. There we go. But I mean, like, if we don't, as a people, fucking put these assholes in check, what's the alternative? Like, they're going to, without a care, destroy the fucking world. Just to prove that they can fucking have their capitalist bullshit. And nobody wins that fight. Everybody loses that one. What the hell? Ugh. So annoying. It like won't tell me the next place to go unless I walk out of the front of this place for no reason. It's just like, what? Why? Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, it's only gonna ramp up. And they just don't care. They're completely fine with... It's not opening. Oh, I need to go to arm lock. That's what happened. I accidentally went in there too early. That's okay, now I have a fast travel point, so it doesn't really waste too much time. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing that they're trying to do now is to, like, further isolate men. And they're doing that by showing that 80% of women are willing to pretend that they're going to get to marry a billionaire while hanging out on their yachts and taking out all these cute pictures on Instagram, and these men are not going to marry them. And it's just that simple. And eventually, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, a lot of women are now, like, coming forward with, like, all these mental health issues about how much it sucks to be, like, the breadwinner of their own life but have nobody in their life to, like, you know, rely on, and that's because of your own behaviors. You've not given anyone any reason to be loyal to you. You were told by all your cute little girlfriends that having a career and slutting it up and not needing nothing from no man is better than, I guess, being alone, or I don't know what the end game for that is, but it seems like people are starting to realize that there's no winning that. Guess we'll see how it plays out. For me, I'm just, like, laughing at it all. I'm like, all these people are just treating each other like they're all in each other's fucking reality TV shows. They're acting like they're the protagonist of the world or some shit. Like, using video game technology in real life. Like, I mean, not technology, terminology, Jesus. Oh, eventually we'll stop taking refugees. If you think that people care enough, when the alternative is to have half of what they have now, I guarantee you they'll let those people die. It's not that hard to figure out. These people already don't want to share, so what do you think's gonna happen when more mouths to feed just mysteriously appear? It's already happening in New York. Like, they're like, oh, we'll take you in for 30 to 60 days. And then they're just gonna kick you right back out. Like, okay, it's great that we had this place to live for 30 to 60 days, but more people means more competition for jobs. And if you don't have papers, you usually can't get a job in the US. Unless it's, you know, farm work in Texas or California, Southern California, rather. So, good luck with all that. It's not gonna be easy. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a competition. Whoever takes the most refugees sees the most economic damage as a whole. And we're already pretty selfish here in the US, so I don't see it getting to a huge proportion to fuck us over too much in this place. Because people are already going through these problems on a worsening scale for the last, like, many years. So we're not going to be in a position to give a shit about anybody else. It sucks, but some people will, and they'll get burned. Like, I got burned when I let a friend who was going through some hard times live with me. What he ended up doing was drinking all my booze and robbing me, so... But he had this thing figured out. He thought he was gonna play on people's sympathies for the rest of his life, and he thought he was gonna become a millionaire off of GoFundMe, and people only care until they don't care anymore. Especially if anything happens to them in their life. Like, they don't give a shit about you anymore instantly. It's very simple. If you can't afford to care about somebody else, you're worried a little bit more about your own survival. But I assume some Eastern countries that still have the family above everything kind of mentality and teamwork above everything mentality might start to care a little bit about the people. But they'll quickly get burned also. So it'll just be a population correction numbers-wise. I don't think it will be any long-term situation where there's housing or food or support long-term. It's just gonna be, you know, it's gonna look really good in the media. It's like, oh, look at all these strangers helping out these people in Haiti. But, you know, nobody does a follow-up drive-by to see that anything got rebuilt, you know? It'll just look really good on paper until people move on to the next fucking catastrophe. This might end up being my fastest Rena run, depending on how bogged down in fights I get. Which would mean I probably should go back and correct my other Rena runs that are, you know, not as good. You can only help other people when you have extra resources. That's my line, and I'm sticking to it. The minute you can no longer afford to give yourself and the stranger the same amount of food is the moment you choose yourself 100 times out of 100. I don't care if they're your fucking grandma. Eventually you're gonna be like, starving isn't fun, and I would like to not do that anymore. Or not being able to leave my house and do fun things because I'm taking care of the elderly. I mean, some people have a lot of love and empathy for people in their life, but we've been training against that for quite some time here in the US. So it'll look cute at first, but it'll very quickly be like, I have my own fucking problems. But other places that aren't, you know, built like that are gonna... they'll go through it, and then they'll get rid of them too. I don't have a glass half full or glass half empty perspective on that. I have realism and nothing else for you. If you cannot afford to maintain your same lifestyle, you will resent the person that is impeding that from occurring. Eventually. And who knows, maybe you'll just... 3 o'clock in the morning rolls around, they were gonna die within a couple of months anyway, maybe you just get the pillow and you just put them to sleep. Forever. Who knows, I couldn't tell you. But that thought will cross enough minds, and enough people will do it, and get away with it. Because nobody's doing an autopsy on that shit. Because that costs even more money. And since they probably signed over all these paperworks to you, because you're the only one that cared enough to take care of them, you're probably going to have a nice little power of attorney signed, and it couldn't be you. You were the only one that cared enough to help. So, we'll see what happens. I just call that a mass extinction event that we caused ourselves. It'll be a bunch of numbers on a spreadsheet, and people will stop thinking it before you know it. And then they'll forget, and then the whole cycle will repeat itself. Because humans are vain, stupid little creatures that don't give a shit about anything other than themselves for the most part. Damn, that's a lot of numbers. Tasty. There's just something psychologically satisfying about seeing, like, all these numbers just... Damn. We sure ate you for breakfast, didn't we? There's, what, 4 more wise men alive? There's a boss of 2 and 2 bosses of 1, but the last boss of 1 is a 2-phase battle. So yeah, we're probably pushing more towards like 144-ish, honestly. Depending on if I fuck up any of the puzzles. But it's not evil. I'm not the one doing this shit. In fact, I've structured my life in such a way that most people know that this is not gonna happen to me a second time. I've already tried to be the good guy and got fucked over by it. I'm not doing it again. It's somebody else's turn. Oof. Is it evil or is it common sense? Guess it just depends on what you think about it, I guess. Yeah, like, every adult I've talked to is like, you know, like, oh, the bad guys are naughty or whatever, but then as you get older, you're like, the bad guys seem to make a lot of valid points. Do we keep this fucking horrible structure just the way it has been forever? Or do we, like, try to make it better? And you can't fucking make it better until you tear it all down. So, most of the bad guys in most things, in my opinion, are the heroes, just not treated as such. Because they're the ones at least trying to do something about it. Like, that says a lot to me. Like, they're at least trying something. Even though it's probably not good for most people. When most people don't like change, any change is going to be viewed as a gigantic fucking threat. And, I mean, propaganda will come, you know? People in positions of power are not going to like what you're doing, or what you're selling, or how you sell it. And they're going to put their own little spin on it. And it will jade, you know, people that have been treated really good most of their life, that haven't yet been fucked over by whoever's in power. And since most of those people are going to be the people with money and power, they're going to be the ones fighting the hardest to keep shit the same. It's all just a cycle. It all always happens again. But a lot of people like the drama. So, what, like 300 million people aren't on Instagram for their mental health, I'll tell you that right now. They're in it for the entertainment, the drama, the discounts from influencers on shit they can't afford in the first place. There was never anybody, like, doing this for good reasons. It was always about how much fucking money can I take out of this piece of shit before I die, so that I can leave my kids some money, or so that I can get my name on a building, so that I can kind of potentially live forever despite dealing with the reality of my mortality. But then some people get depressed and they're like, why try at all? Especially if they're people that qualify for help from the government. Better to just live a life of no drama out in a cheap place somewhere. But we're kind of running out of those cheap places, aren't we? This is a well-coordinated attack against literally everybody. They must have it all. They will settle for nothing less than everything. Seems selfish to me. But people are too lazy to fucking tear it down. So what do you think happens when you don't fully tear this shit down? When you don't stamp out and salt the earth and remove the ground that's already been seeded by these names left on buildings and fucking shit like that? Like, you have to fucking burn and salt the earth if you want to actually change anything. And that shit's fucking viewed as pure evil. Eventually people are like, enough, you've killed enough of these fucking assholes. You've already fucking, you know, taken everything from them. You know? And they'll be right to a point. But if you pussy out right at the end, right before you finish, you know, murdering all these cocksuckers that are gonna remember what you did to them and exact their revenge on you, then you're kind of missing the point, aren't you? Because their connections, their name, their skills, the things that made them elites in the first place, that can't really ever be taken away. So they will use those skills to get back what you took, and every single time, they will retaliate. It is that fucking simple, kids. If you're gonna not be full heartless and go the fucking extra mile to root out what you think is evil in this world, it will not be completely rooted out. You will have left an agent of chaos in your fucking situation that wants to put things back how they were, the right way. And they're gonna be mad at everybody, so they're not gonna care that they caused a maximum amount of damage to everybody when they already had it happen to them first. Everything is just a cycle of fucking retaliation. Oof. And to pretend that it's not, to pretend that you're above that and you practice the words of Jesus or whatever, you will until that shitty thing, those shitty things start happening to you. And eventually you won't be able to forgive what happened to you. I've seen that happen with people in my own life. My sister was killed by the Sackler family with fentanyl overdose. They oversold that shit. It made it into the hands of people that turned that into street drugs. It's cheaper for them, so what happened? They started buying the cheaper stuff that gets people more addicted. Whoopsie. Need to bring some people back to life or I'm gonna die. Uh-oh. Alright. Anyways. One more douchebag to murder. Sucks, but there's always somebody that doesn't have the stomach to kill the last person in the family dynasty. Letting them live is to allow them to reaccumulate the power they once had. And if and when they ever get it back, what do you think they're gonna do with it? Are they going to be cool with the new world order? Or are they going to try to reestablish the status quo? And if you're the one who's the leader of all this shit, are you going to want to roll the dice on that situation? And realistically, even if you don't feel like you're the one who can pull the trigger, I don't know, if you've just reestablished a new world order yourself, you probably have a bunch of generals that are used to carrying out some pretty nefarious actions in the name of getting whatever the new world order was. So they might see that or go against you and stamp it out without you ever knowing about it. It's like these people haven't fucking read a history book. It's kinda bizarro land. Alright, let's do this. Whoops. We need to do that first, and then that. Because, yeah, this guy is very good at murdering people. So, you know, it is, and it's never gonna not be complicated. There's varying different people with varying different sets of knowledge that have different ideas about how they're gonna get what they want from this world. I mean, it's never gonna be easy. Huh? Oh, you're fine. This is about done anyway. Yeah, it gets really condensed. Condensed. We did it. I think that is my fastest Rena run, actually. Let's take a look at speedrun.com and find out. 142, 144, yep, 141. We did it. We did something. Oh, Diaz and Noah are gonna be boyfriends this time. So cute. Oh my. Oh, so cute. He wants you to climb into bed with him, Diaz. Pet his little ears. You really are a cat, aren't you? Oh, I don't sleep that much. It's the only explanation I can think of. Such a cute little couple arguing. Oh, Bowman ended up with Celine this time? That's a weird combo. Considering he has a wife. He just leaves his wife in like almost every circumstance. God damn. Left her for a younger girl with blue hair. But yeah, focusing too much on the wrongs that you've done to one set of people might make you commit a different set of wrongs to the people that are currently following your bullshit. And that can lead to all other kinds of other fun uprisings and destruction of what it is that your vision is. Because not everybody gets to be a fucking world maker or a king maker. Only a couple people, only a room for a few of those at the top of the pyramid of fucking sadness, so. Alrighty. Well, hope y'all had fun, and we'll see you next time.